Hey everyone, welcome to this special edition of the Buckscope. While I'm at the top of the program here, I want to remind you all that tomorrow we're having Sips and Spiders with Sebastian and Solange, where we'll have our reoccurring guest, Sebastian, who's a spider expert, join us to chat anything spiders. So if you want to chat spiders with us, you can join us for that, whether it's in the chat or if you want to hop on the broadcast with us. If you have a spider photo that you want to share or a mystery or something, like it's open for any topic relating to spiders. That's happening tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then also on Thursday, Earth Day, I'm bringing on a special guest to talk about mosquitoes, Autumn Angelus. So bring any mosquito questions you have to that event, which is Thursday at 2:30. And if you are not able to make it to that, please, you're welcome to give me questions in advance to ask. And then you can always catch the replay later, which is available here on HAPS, also on YouTube and Facebook as well, and Twitter. Hi, everyone. Veda says you saw the word lollipop. I will get my coffee ready. Awesome. Hi, Jakara. Hello, Bjorn from Holland. I hope I say your name. I'm saying your name right. How do you say it, Ramon?
Bjorn.
Bjorn? Hi, thank you. Yay. Hi, Bjorn. Thanks, Ramon. Behind the scenes here. Hi, David. Thanks for the word. Hi, Zach. Thanks for the hello. Hello to you guys, too. David saying, cool, just get a key to the mosquitoes. Just got a key to the mosquitoes here in the UK. Bet IDing them is a challenge. Yeah, I think it probably varies a lot from mosquito to mosquito. Ciao over in Italy. Nazim, hello. And hello, James and Molly over in Pittsburgh. Bjorn, excellent. Yay. I'm glad to have that help. Okay, so if you've been with me for a little while, and over the last couple of weeks, you might remember that I did a broadcast where we looked at these. My lighting seems a little strange today. I think it's because I'm not. Let me adjust, moving the table back. And I will also get rid of, I have to make a couple adjustments here. Okay, gonna get rid of this cover art. All right. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about, actually, I'm going to add one more light source too, because it's not coming out as clearly as I want it to. And I do apologize a little bit for the slight delay in starting. Got caught up in a couple of work things. One moment. Turn the light on for me, everyone. Adjust it a bit. Okay. Oh, I also want to say too, if you're interested in diving into the world of entomology, especially the insects that are living in your house with you and also in your backyard and wanting to get to know them more, it's a very enriching thing to know more about the insect life around you. And next week, in conjunction, in partnership with Atlas Obscura, with Atlas Obscura, I'm offering an entomology course. And I can put the link in the chat here. So Bjorn says, if you can pronounce difficult insect names, it mustn't be hard to pronounce my name, right? If I know the pronunciation of the letters, then sure. Hi, Trevor. How's it going? Pilot says, are you still down at the Franklin Institute? The museum that I work with is the Academy of Natural Sciences, which does sometimes get mixed up with the Franklin Institute. The Franklin Institute in Philadelphia is more of a physics sort of focused museum. And then the Academy of Natural Sciences is like an animal, natural sciences sort of organization. So yeah, I am still working with them part-time. And then I'll post the link to my course here in the bio. It starts next week. So here, if you're curious of really getting a dive, more concentrated information on entomology, here's the information on that. Okay. And share it with your friends and stuff too, whoever you think might be interested. Okay, so now that the lighting's a little more even, and I think, so a couple weeks ago, I did a broadcast that talked about nature lollipops, inverted nature lollipops, where we took a look at these, which this is a dried out plant, goldenrod stem. There used to be leaves coming out of it when it was green in the summer season, and then it got brown and died. But throughout the winter, even though the plant had died back, inside of here, there was a little developing larva. Well, it pupated, so a pupating larva of the goldenrod gall wasp. And in the spring, it emerged out of this hole right there. And so we're going to take a look at one of those flies that emerged. So a couple weeks ago, what we did in the broadcast on natural lollipops, and the reason why I'm inspired to call it inverted nature lollipops is because what's super cool about this type of fly is that when it's a larva, the chemicals that it produced, it was able to cause the plant to form and form this gall around its body, which gave it protection and also gave it a lot of food. It gave it the food that it ate too. So the outside was kind of hard like a shell and gave it the structure like the stem of a lollipop. And then all the good stuff was on the inside. So that's why I'm calling it an inverted lollipop. And so those two, the same exact little flies that we looked at last week, I put them into this jar. Yay. This is unfortunately not sponsored by Talenti, the company, but they do make awesome containers, which are good for entomological purposes, among other things. And so they hatched out into this container. And this is one that I just had. I hadn't put this one in a container, so this one hatched in my house, and I'm not sure where it is. Maybe it flew out the door one day when we weren't looking, but the other ones are contained, so we could see what emerged from them. What about the botfly? What botfly? These are very different from botflies. They are, you could maybe think of them as a plant botfly. If anyone's like, what's a botfly? Botflies are a type of fly that are known for developing in animal flesh when the animal's living. And one time I did find a botfly in Center City, Philadelphia, but it wasn't like a human botfly, one that we don't have any in the Philadelphia area that will get into human skin and develop, but you can catch ones like that in places like Central America. But they're not like looking for humans. Humans are usually an accidental host. The one that was in Philly was a deer botfly, and for them, they lay their eggs and the larvae develop in the respiratory tracts of the deer, which seems so uncomfortable. Those poor deer that get affected by them. But anyway, that's a whole different topic too. Yeah. Good morning, Pablo. Good to see you. Hope you are well. So Mike, the botflies are the ones that grow in the flesh, in the skin of humans, not like in the body. They're not fully internal. Okay, but this is not them, so no one worry. Pablo says, how many licks does it take to get to the center of an inverted nature lollipop? That's a great question to ask a downy woodpecker, because it's a downy woodpecker. I guess for them it's how many pecks does it take to get to the center of a inverted nature lollipop. And I don't know the answer, but unfortunately it doesn't melt if a person licks it because it's not sugar, but okay. Bjorn earlier said, do you hire yourself for projects or are you part of a team? I'm not sure to answer that because I have a bunch of different projects that I work on. And at this point, I guess organizations too, because I work part-time for the museum now, used to work full-time for the last 8 years. And then I am in partnership with Atlas Obscura for the online course. And then this upcoming year, I'm going to be full-time Fulbright National Geographic Storytelling Fellow over in Indonesia. So little this, little that, I suppose. Okay, you have soldier flies in your compost. Awesome. You're going to try to eat the larvae, clean them off and eat them? And Molly says, I hot rot compost to keep the flies out. Yeah, and that also helps with getting the composting system happening faster. Okay, what does it taste like? Well, since we are talking about tasting bugs, I'm not sure what the compost flies taste like because I haven't actually tasted them. So unfortunately, I cannot comment on that. But these flies, apparently, you can eat them. They're edible. You can eat them. And my entomology professor from Cornell had said that it's best to eat them in the early spring, and they taste a little bit sweet. So we did miss the opportunity to eat these on the bug scope last time, unfortunately. But maybe next time. I do have a hard time eating bugs sometimes in that I like them alive. I really like them alive, and I feel bad eating them sometimes because I don't know, appreciate watching them alive. So, okay. So let's take a look at them because I'm looking at them here and I would like you guys to look at them too. The tricky thing is I didn't quite set up looking them up before the broadcast because I got caught up in some work that I was doing for my course that I'm starting next week. But I will try to figure out how to best go about this. Maybe I'll show you guys straight up by putting my macro lens on my computer thingy up here. I'll try that. If that doesn't work, we can break out the dissection scope. It's now early spring for you. Uh-oh, this little fly just went right up to the top here. They're not super active with flying, so I'm thinking maybe I can just hold it up to the camera to show you. Oh, never mind. I said that and it buzzed around. Okay, first I'm going to take out some of the old gall, so when I tilt it sideways, I don't crush them. And then I think I will try to start off by tilting this towards you guys so you guys can see. One thing that's cool about these flies that distinguishes them from other flies in the tree of life is that they're from a section in fly phylogeny where they have this weird apparatus that when they first emerge, like flies like blowflies and flesh flies and these flies have this thing that in order to get out, escape their pupa, because they have that hard casing sometimes for their pupa that's protecting them while they're metamorphosizing. I don't even know if that's a real word, metamorphosizing, but I'm going to use it. And what happens is, you know how like basically baby chicks, like little baby chickens, they have a little extra notch at the end of their beak. I don't remember what it's called, but it helps them leave their egg. It helps them break through the egg and escape. Well, these flies have a similar, like an analogous apparatus that shows up in a really weird way. I could use something to anesthetize them. Maybe I'll put them in the freezer for a minute to chill them out. Don't have CO2 here, but here I did give them some apple. But these guys have a here they are. But we'll take a closer look. They're pretty little flies. I'll put them in the freezer for a minute, okay? All right, I'm setting my timer. I don't want to leave them in there for too long because we don't want to hurt them. But anyway, these flies when they first emerge from, all right, timer, it has started. All right, when these flies emerge from, or when they're ready to break out this big balloon comes out from the front of their head. It puffs up and it helps to push themselves out. So that helps to push themselves out of their inverted nature lollipop and bust out through that hole. And then once they bust out and they're free, it collapses, it deflates and goes back inside their head, and then it closes up. The opening closes up and forms a scar. And it's very strange. I don't know how this happened in evolution, but it's a thing in flies. Yeah. Hi, Matthias. Frank says, can't stay too long today, still at work. Oh, I hope your work's going well. Namaste to you too. Yeah, Pilot Mike, going back to the whole composting and eating bugs thing, Pilot Mike is saying a guy on YouTube raises soldier flies for chicken food and composting. It's a really big field of nutritional research, is looking at the composting flies, the soldier flies, as a source of food for not just humans, but also for livestock. All right, we're at almost 2 minutes since I've put them into the freezer. Let's give it one more, like maybe a minute and a half more, and then I'll go get them. Pilot Mike says, a person who doesn't like to kill bugs, I'm amazed. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the insect. If it's an invasive species, I'll be a little more like thoughtless about doing it, but otherwise, insects are very enriching in the world. If there were no insects in the world, not only would life be more of a struggle because of all the things that they do to keep the world running, but also just be like pretty boring. So good to see you too, Linda. How are you doing? The egg tooth, but don't know if that's the technical term. Yeah, it might be that. Chick. I don't know the name. Yeah. Maybe someone can look it up. Anyway, did you get any parasitoids? Not yet. So I do have 2 other jars with these inverted nature lollipops in them, with the galls in them, but there's no emergence hole on these ones yet. So I'm still waiting. And hopefully something will come out, hopefully. So there's this one, and then I also have one in this container, and nothing has emerged yet. But if nothing emerges in the next couple weeks, what I will do is dissect it. There'll be a whole other broadcast. We'll dissect it and see what's going on inside there. Yeah. Okay. Linda says, when my kids had an ant farm, we had to freeze them a bit before putting them in. Doing well, just got COVID vaccine an hour ago. Nice. Glad to hear that you're on your way to getting fully vaccinated. And yeah, like that's definitely a technique that helps with insect wrangling, just chilling them a little bit, which slows them down. Okay, I'm going to go check on them now. So BRB. Okay, it worked. And I do want to show you guys with the dissection scope. That's the thing too. I think I'll do that. I'm going to put them in the refrigerator now. Well, maybe I'll just show you them briefly. Wow, they're going to warm up fast probably, but I'll show you them here. Oops, what did I put them on? Put them on the top of the Talentini container maybe? Here they are. Whoops, one of them fell down. Yeah, I need to show you under the scope so we can really fully appreciate them, and also that way we can see their scar from that patillon, I think is what it's called, that balloon that blows up to help them escape on the top of their head. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. So a calcium nodule for the chicks. One sec. I'm looking up I totally said the name of this during the last broadcast, but I don't have it at the tip of my finger today for the flies. Scar. I'm not really. Okay. All right, it's not coming to me easily, unfortunately. But David says you just need to build a massive walk-in freezer so you can do your broadcasts in there. Totally. All right, yeah, so let's set this up. We'll take a close look at them. They are very cute. It definitely feels extra special. Oops, my hair's a little crazy today, huh? It definitely feels, Josh, how's it going? Good to see you. It definitely feels like extra special, and I definitely feel a little attached to them from having, like, we looked at them when they were little developing pupa, when they were just a couple weeks ago during the broadcast. They were in here, remember that view? And now they're all grown up, our little babies. They grew up right here in the spotlight. Yeah, right here in the fame of the bug scope. And so yeah, it's really cool to watch them grow and transform and change. So okay, I'm gonna bust this out so we can take a look. And for anyone who's wondering, I am still in the works of purchasing one dissection scope that connects directly to the computer for smoother transitions. I've been doing a little more investigating of which microscope to buy, but hopefully within this week I'll be done with that research and decision making. So hello over on Twitch, welcome. So let me plug this in, move the whole entire table over closer to the outlet. Okay. What's in nature's lollipop? So anyone who's tuning in now who hasn't been with us from the start, my name is Isa Betancourt. I'm host of the Bug Scope, and sometimes on Twitch I also play ukulele. And today the nature's lollipops are the goldenrod gall, which forms from the goldenrod gall fly, which as a larva goes inside and basically makes an inverted lollipop where the outside is the hard structure and the inside is the yummy, tasty plant, which the little larva eats and develops on and eventually pupates in. So it's like almost an inverted lollipop house. And then in the spring they hatch out, and if they survive, because there are parasitoid wasps that like to lay their eggs on them, and there are downy woodpeckers which like to peck and break into the inverted lollipop to eat the yummy goodness inside, aka the developing little fly larvae, and then or pupa depending on the stage. And so we today are taking a look at the adults, because a couple weeks ago we looked at a larvae, and yeah, so I'm gonna set up my camera here. I have to put these back into the fridge because they're already waking up from me putting them into the freezer for a bit. Insects are very, very hardy. And now I will set this up, and once it's set up, we will take a look at them very, very up close at 50 times magnification, approximately. So let's set this up, turn this. Yeah, make sure you follow Nye Dominic. I'm new on Twitch too, so I'm exploring, and I know there's not a lot of like natural history nature people on there, mostly a gaming platform, but I think that what's cool, the cool connection though, is that a lot of gaming, the inspiration comes from nature. A lot of the animals that you encounter in the games that you play and a lot of the weird stories that happen, it comes from real things in nature. So You love the insects on your wall. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Matthias, for the super heart. Yeah, this one up here. These ones are drawings, but this one is a real specimen. A jungle nymph, I think is what it's called. And imagine finding that in the wild as you're walking around the woods. Pretty cool. It's not super duper that I keep it on the wall here in the sunlight because it's going to cause it to fade over time. But, oh well, I guess. I don't know. I could do what they did back in the day. Thanks for the super heart, Pablo. I could do what they do back in the day where they sometimes would, with caterpillars, especially at the Academy of Natural Sciences collection where I work in Philadelphia, like 100 years ago, they would inflate caterpillars and the color would get lost on them when they're inflated and the guts are squeezed out of them and stuff like that. So in order to preserve and try to document what they looked like in real life, sometimes the scientists would paint them. So we have some specimens that were painted from 100 years ago in the entomology collection in Philadelphia. So maybe if I needed to, I could do that with this one day when it's completely white, but haven't gotten there yet. Still has some color. And green is a particularly sensitive pigment. So that back up. Yeah. Oh, the Dominic says, I love nature. Waited for a streamer like you. I want to watch nature content. Excellent. I'll also invite you to come over to HAP sometimes too if you want to. That's where this stream is being pushed from. But whatever works best for you, because the great thing about HAPS is that these are multicasted or simulcasted to other platforms like Twitch. And if you come on to HAPS, you can see everybody else's comment too, which can be fun. But glad that you found my stream. Okay, put this back. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that intermission from the Nature Lollipop main topic for today. And I'm going to set this up now for looking at the little flies. So one moment. David says, I never have seen a painted caterpillar specimen. We'll have to ask in my local museum. Yeah, when I'm in Philadelphia again, I'm going at the end of the month. I'm planning on going into the museum, and I can do a broadcast there and show you. If anyone else has any requests from the collection, let me know. Okay. There we go. I can't wait to get the new microscope. But it's taking a little extra time than initially planned, only because I want to make sure I get the right one. And it's really not straightforward because like there's no one else who really does the sort of thing where they stream from a dissection scope regularly and switch between like a camera like this and then a microscope. It happens a little more now that people are teaching remotely, but it makes it less straightforward of how to navigate. And also I really wish there was a microscope store where I could just like go and try them all out. But alas, such a thing does not exist. All right. Here we go. Yeah, if you have any requests for topics, NY Dominic, let me know. For some reason this looks dirty. Why are you dirty? Okay. Oh, that's much better. Okay. All right, now I have to go on the HAPS from my phone, and I'm going to need you guys to help me and give me feedback on how the audio sounds when I switch to using my phone. I might need to mute my computer, but we'll see. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Sorry. Okay. I still hear an echo. Do you guys hear an echo? I didn't do any hashtags for this broadcast. Whoops. Oh well. Is there an echo still? Oh no. Do you still hear dead people though? Or is it fixed now? Do you hear an echo now? The sound is okay now? Okay. The sound quality is not going to be as great now because it's going through my phone and not my like high quality mic thing. But all right, thanks guys for the feedback, for figuring out this switch. Okay, so now we have this microscope set up. I'll go get the flies from the fridge. Yeah, there is a little bit of lag with the comments, so it can be a little tricky to respond with technical feedback. It takes a little longer than otherwise it might be. But okay, you can hear me, so good. Okay, I'm going to go get the flies from the fridge and we will take a look at them under the scope. So this is the pupa. This is the old pupa that we looked at a couple weeks ago. And I think that so this is what we're looking at. I just took it away from the scope. And if I go like this, then we'll see that this is empty because it already emerged. So it must have emerged the other way since the hole isn't on this side. Oh yeah, there's the exit hole. There's the exit hole. Oops. So this is how it exited. I know it's like way closer than it needs to be, but it's funny. Isn't it funny how even though we opened it from this side, it didn't exit this way. It exited the other way. That's really funny. So it's clearly oriented. Sorry, I'll change this. It's clearly oriented to exit a certain way, and even if the other way is completely open, it still exits out its exit hole. Theta, hello. We're about to look at the flies under the scope here. So I'm gonna go get them. Right now we're looking at what we can call it the exuvia, the old pupal casing inside of the gall, inside of the lollipop, basically, the inverted nature lollipop. So AKA this right here that we're seeing over here is the inside of this, like cut in half. So I'll go get the flies and we'll take a closer look at them. Right. The only problem, one sec. I had put them in the refrigerator this time, and I don't think the refrigerator was cold enough for them, which makes sense because they just survived winter, and they emerged on the early side of spring. So a refrigerator, that temperature is not cold to them. So I put them in the freezer for a couple minutes so they won't fly away. That will slow down their flight muscles, And that way, when you look at them, we will be able to see them without them wandering off. And we can, yeah, so Blinky says, I'm still amazed how they pre-dig the escape tunnel. Yeah, so for those of you who are not with us for the first broadcast a couple weeks ago, during that first broadcast, I was talking about how, I explained how not only is it amazing how they, as larvae, can manipulate the plant tissues and cause them to make that inverted lollipop or the gall. It also, before they pupate, the larva make an exit hole. From the center, they dig their way out to the very, very edge of the gall. So once they get to the edge, they stop. They leave that top part sealed, but it's a very thin. They leave it so it's very easy once they become an adult to just walk out and pop out and into the world, because as adult flies, they are like, flies have very, generally not all of them, but this type of fly, well, does it even have a mouth as an adult? I'm not sure if they do. We'll take a look and see if they have a mouth. But some flies, not all flies, because as we know, we've gotten bit by flies, mosquitoes, also horse flies. Some do have very hard mouth parts, but other flies don't have any mouth parts at all. They're all just soft, very soft. And some have very spongy mouth parts, like the ones that are our house flies, for example, have very soft and spongy mouth parts. So they don't have very hard body parts as adults that would allow them to like really excavate. So they do that before they even pupate as larvae. So it's pretty cool how that came to be. Yeah. So golden rod gall flies. These ones are all up in the northeastern North America, wherever goldenrod is basically. And there might be types in other parts of the world. I'm not familiar though. So I'm gonna go get the flies from the freezer now. They're probably good to go. And if you haven't realized, flies are definitely a very helpful entomological tool. All right, I'm gonna put our flies. They're in here. I'm gonna put them right under the microscope. They're knocked out from the cold. Oops. Here we go. Here's our little fly. Looks like they do have mouth parts. Zoom in a little bit. Here, oh, look at that eye. Look at the shininess on the eye. How pretty is that? So here's our fly. I'm guessing this one's a female because of the way that she has a pointy abdomen. Definitely, that has to be a female. And that's for placing the eggs into the plant. So injecting eggs into the plant. It's not a stinger, although stingers on other animals did evolve from ovipositors. That's why it's only female ants and wasps and bees can sting. And then it has very cool wing patterns. Not exactly sure why the wing patterns are what they are. We can see its 6 legs all folded up. You can see it moving a little bit, slowly getting warmer. You can see it has very tiny antennae, as many flies do. Okay, then the other fly, I'll flip one of them over so we can see the other side too. I think these are both females. Okay, now our other fly is over here. And it's really interesting, that iridescence of their eye. There's some iridescence, very cool. There's its eye. We can zoom in and see all the cells that make up the eye. I'm gonna make this screen bigger too. So that, there we go. So you can see all the little cells on its eye, which help see the world. And I don't know why they're iridescent, but that's pretty cool, huh? So iridescence is different from other types of color in that it's structural. It has to do with the structure, the tiny little surface that affects the way the wavelengths bounce back at you. And iridescence is something that never fades away unless it's due to something that's like liquid that will dry up when a specimen dies. It's also interesting to see the hairs. They look kind of like a little bit like more like scales, like butterflies have, for example. And yeah, it is pretty up close. Yeah, and also not up close. But so if you look up here, there, see that little shiny thing near the top? That's also an eye. There's three of them there. Those are the three three ocelli. Sorry, ocelli. All the cells in the compound eye that you see are called ommatidia. Those are ommatidia. But then all the those three little simple eyes on the top of the insect, those are called ocelli, and they help detect light or darkness. Like when I take off the lid to the container I have them in, that will help them sense, oh, like there's light from above. I can probably fly up. There's nothing shading me right now. Or maybe when a predator starts and looms over them, those those ocelli help to tell the insect really fast that something has changed in the landscape and around them. So yeah. Is the iridescence, David's asking, is the iridescence something to do with how they refract the light to see in low light conditions? I'm not sure. When it comes to eyes, I'm not sure. So I'm going to see if I can prop one of them up to see the face a little more, to see if we can see that place where that scarring happened from the balloon, from the face balloon. I'll just call it a face balloon. Sometimes it can be hard to see. I don't really see it, but it's pretty cool to see all the little hairs on its body. Sorry, let me adjust this. Cool. I'm on a piece of apple right now. But yeah, these are our little friends that emerged, and I'll also show you them with my my little macro lens for my camera, because it's definitely a different view to see them from a little farther away. I can't really see where the scarring is. It's usually hidden pretty well too, but I think it's probably below the antenna, so it's still a little hard to access without flipping it over the fly a little bit more. I would like them to wake up now so you can say hello to them. That'll come. They'll wake up soon, I think. Maybe the scar, it's right there. I'm not sure. Might be that V shape below the, not sure. I'm a little rusty on this. Anyway, any dipterists in the house? I'll have to bring in a dipterist next time to help guide us for finding that part. And here's the wings, very cool patterns, and some flies have patterns on their wings that make them look like spider legs to help defend them and protect them from spiders and other insects and arthropods. It could be the case here, but I'm not totally sure. Yeah. Oh, and there you can see the halteres. If you look, the little nub between the abdomen, position this. Okay. So right in the middle of the screen, in that little window between the thorax and the abdomen, there's a little nub that's sticking out. My phone's like not focusing on the right thing here. It's like readjusting my focus. I feel like I'm fighting with the focus of my phone. But that little nub is called a haltere, and that's one of the biggest characteristics of flies. So the scientific name for fly is Diptera, di is two, ptera is winged, and so the basic body plan is for insects to have 2 pairs of wings, or 4 wings total. But with flies, they just have 1 pair of wings. That's the front pair of wings. Oh, let me move this so it's a little lower down. There we go. So the second pair of wing over time has been modified into a little tiny nub, which is shaped differently from one fly to the next. And it's thought that this nub helps them with, it's like a sensory receptor, like it helps them with stabilizing flight. Oh, our fly is waking up. They're waking up. Face balloon. David says, I vote we put Issa in charge of insect part naming to replace all that obscure Latin terminology. Why, thank you. Yeah, there's yep, galls are now lollipop, nature lollipops. And then face balloons. Although there is a name for it. What is it? Did I write it? Sometimes I write my notes for the bug scope down on pieces of paper, and sometimes I write them down on like a Word document. I think I wrote it on a piece of paper for that last broadcast, but what is it? Patilium, something like that. I'm looking it up on Google right now. Balloon scar. I feel like Google searches are getting worse and worse. All right. Yes, it is Patilinum. I'm putting it in the chat. There we go. All right. It's coming alive. Ah, yay. I'm surprised they're not moving a little. Maybe I can breathe some warmth onto them. Breathe some life into my little friends here. Give them some of my warmth since they can't warm themselves. So here's the word I was looking for all this time, you guys. I will put it right on the screen. This is the name for the face balloon that some flies have. All right. It's an inversible pouch on the head above the base of the antenna in schizophorine flies. And let's see. Yeah. And then once, let's see. Yes, okay, we did see the scar for it. We were able to see the scar. I'm going to share with you guys this image from Wikipedia. I just need to upload it. And then you guys can see that we did see the scar. It just looked not really like a scar. So here's a diagram from Wikipedia. And if you see that U-shape thing, if you see the frontal suture, I think that's the scar, I think. So we did see that when we saw its face. I'll show the face again. Okay. Oops. All right, going back to the fly. Do you do any lectures or programs in Ann Arbor? Not currently, but I did mention earlier that I've partnered up with Atlas Obscura, and I will be doing a five-part online lecture series on backyard entomology, and it's starting next week, so now's a good time to join. A good way to celebrate Earth Day. The first course will be kind of like an overview of the world of entomology and the extent of the biodiversity and sort of a tour before we dive into more detail. And then the next week will be how do insects work. We'll be looking at their physiology and how they experience the world. And then the next week, we're going to be looking at insects that you find around the house. And we'll be having a guest talk on that topic who did a whole project called Matt Bertone, who did a whole project on the great indoors. And he and a group of researchers went into people's houses and searched for all the insects and spiders or arthropods in the house and documented that. And then the fourth course, we'll be looking at insects right outside the house. And then on the last course, we'll be doing how to make bugs, how to support healthy insect populations, and that sort of thing. So the 22nd is on Thursday. Today is the 19th. Yeah. Yeah, so I'd love to have you guys in my class if you're interested in joining. And if you know anybody else who might be interested in joining, please share it with your networks and whatnot. So, and if you have requests for the course too, let me know as well. Okay, so they're waking up. Yay! They're coming back to life. They're rousing from their sleep. Let me zoom in here. It's a little hard to figure out what's going on with its face, but I'm just gonna take a. Can I take a screenshot on here? I'm not super familiar with how HAPS works. I took a screenshot on my phone. Cool. All right, I'm gonna flip to, so that these are our friends as they wake up. Maybe I'll bring them out to my goldenrod patch in the front yard so they can, I wish they'd wake up a little faster. Anyway, but you can see how beautiful their wings are. Looks like kind of like stained glass in a way. And I'll put the macro lens on too so we can take an even closer look at them. Where's the macro lens? Oops. Oh, sorry. I'm like not looking at what I'm showing. Oops. Oh, there it is. It's behind the microscope. They're there. All right. I'm going to take this offline for a moment though. And once they wake up a little more, we'll take another look at them. Down. Linda says, I did not clear out all my plants in the yard last fall because I heard they provide habitats for a lot of living things. Completely, yeah. That's wonderful that you did that, because that's like where the goldenrod fly. That's what it's doing. It's living in one of those rods of a plant that looks brown and definitely fits into the category of things that people would normally just clear out from their yard. But then with this one, it's very obvious there's a living organism still inside of it. In other cases, it's less obvious because it looks like there might just be a bunch of dead leaves when there's a giant wild silk moth inside that's pupating, or there might be a broken stem with a opening inside that a little bee has made provision to nest in, things like that. So it's definitely something that I think we're going through a major transformation when it comes to recognizing this, which was previously very like unrecognized, I guess. It was very sort of an unknown topic, but now I'm excited about the future because I think it's something that the word is getting out there and people are starting to make changes, and hopefully that will continue that way. So yeah, that's right, Beta, and that's a great description of it. They're not waking up fast enough from their cryogenic state. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the sort of thing where the first time I put them in the freezer to cool them down earlier, like they bounce back so fast, but then the second time they're not bouncing back quite as fast. Maybe, I don't know. I'll hold them in my hand. That might help warm them up. Heat them up with my breath. But I'll take some photos with my camera too. But I do hope they wake up very shortly because It is pretty cool to watch them move around. The way they move is pretty cool. Yeah, I'll cradle my little fly friends. You can do it, little guys. Hopefully they're okay. David says, reminds me of Tepulity wings. They aren't that family, are they? They're in a much different section of the tree of life from Tepulids. Let me just look up the family. I think it's a family that I'm not familiar with, though. But that trait to have the tilinum, hopefully I'm saying that right, the face balloon, that comes like in the more, for lack of a better word, advanced fly groups. Like blowflies have it, I believe, for example, and flesh flies, and they like in the order that we have flies at the Academy of Natural Sciences, it starts off with like the midges and the mosquitoes and the crane flies. They all have a similar sort of body form, and then after them comes the robber flies and the dance flies, and then the bombylids eventually, and I'm skipping some here too, of course, and then the syrphid flower flies. The bee flies are bombylids, really cute. And then the flower flies, syrphidae, and then and then the ones with the tilinums, like kind of blanking out on this section of the collection, but blowflies and I think the gall flies would come here, and then also like the bat flies, the parasitic weird ones, and the flesh flies and the blowflies, California. So they come at the end. So Yvonne, hello! Thanks for popping by, even if it's briefly, and sharing your support. Glad to have you. If you ever have a request, let me know for a topic, especially now that the summer is here. It gets a little tricky sometimes to find some topics in the winter because I like showing you guys live bugs when I can. But now that spring and summer is here, there's content and insects galore. There's too many different insects to share with you. So it's an exciting, the most wonderful time of the year. Thanks, Yvonne, for the award. Yes, I'll definitely be talking about the cicadas. And I'm actually potentially I'm potentially collaborating with a local videographer on a cicada project. So. Oh, David, okay. You meant Eolidity? I'm blanking out on, oh, Tephrididae. Yeah, these are, yeah, okay. These are in the fruit fly family, aren't they? Okay. I like did not properly look that up before this broadcast. But yeah, these are in the family Tephrididae, and fruit flies do tend to have very colorful wings, or not colorful necessarily, but very patterned wings with like dots and freckles and coloration and things like that. So, how do you know if they're okay? Says Blueberry. When they start moving around again, they're okay. Yeah, monarchs too. Oh yeah, monarchs are a fun one too. High five, guys. And thanks for the insightful word as well. Hi, Sadri. Yeah, if you guys also want to support the broadcast, you can start doing a monthly sponsorship here on HAPS, and you do get a fun little badge by your name if you do that, and it starts, I think, as low as $1. And then also, I do have a Patreon account as well, where I post updates sometimes, which you can join along with too if you want. Okay. Unfortunately, they're not. Hopefully, they're just playing dead right now. But I do have to. Oh, they are moving their legs a bit though, so maybe it's just super slow to get going. You can do it, little flies. I did give them some apple for some energy yesterday. Yeah, hopefully they'll be okay. Yeah, anyway, maybe I'll just do another broadcast like a little one. I do have to go, so maybe I'll just do a little broadcast later if they're up and about. That's literally just me holding the phone up to them, like walking around. So, so yeah. But yeah, hope you guys are enjoying spring, finding some cool bugs around you, and I think I will head off for now. Hopefully they'll be okay. Here, I'll show you them again. Here they are. So they are moving some more, but they're not walking around yet. So yeah. So if they do start walking again, I'll just pop on and be like, here they are, and do like a couple-minute broadcast of them walking around. So yeah, thanks guys for joining. Take care. Yeah, thanks for popping by. Bye, Takara. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day as well. You've seen some pretty cool bugs in your area, Yvonne. If you want to send me a picture of a bug that you come across, like one thing that I plan on doing with this broadcast and this channel is like talking about the bugs that different people see, and we can maybe identify them as well live if you want to. So let me know. So just send it to me on Twitter or Instagram or something like that. Cool. David says, insects certainly emerging for spring around me now. Bye. Yeah, if anyone is in the UK, especially, and curious about especially moths, David has been doing some great broadcasts showing some of the moths that he's collected on the preserve over where he is. So I definitely recommend to check that out if you like looking and exploring the insect world and looking at what's happening. So here on Haps. All right, bye Blinky Bill. Bye Blinky Bill. Bye everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. I realize I put my phone over there and I'm using the mic on my phone, not on my computer right now. So take care everybody. Have a great day and cheerio.